the heart. Pull up a chair, stay for a while. Manly Mark will make you smile.
Hello.
Yeah. A world of wonders you'll soon learn. Big band swing with a gentle tone.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Midday Madness with Manly Mark. I'm your host, as always, Manly Mark, and we're here for another, I'm going to say another few minutes, just a quick. I'm always here at Uncle Pat's Pub, just waiting on my folks, Jazzy J and T-Man, to show up so we can talk about all the things I've been thinking about. But as always, they're running a little late. You guys are here, so we might just go ahead and get into what we want to get into today, and then I'll just refresh T-Man and Jazzy J as they come in. I don't know what it is, but they are always running just a hair late. Irks me. It irks me. It bothers me. But guys, I know I forewent a typical dramatic monologue, which I meant to do, but then I didn't because I quite literally just forgot. But guys, we got quite the show for you today. We're going to talk about something that not a lot of folks like to think about and not a lot of folks like to talk about, but there's a lot of conspiracy and a lot of questions surrounding this specific topic. And you guys might be wondering, and today's topic is Antarctica. And so we're talking about Antarctica. We're talking about if you're just a human living in today's time in society, then you should know that there's a lot of questions surrounding Antarctica. The South Pole, what goes on there, the apparent international treaties that exist between multiple countries, how if you decided to get on a boat and go to Antarctica today, that you'd be met with men on boats with machine guns telling you to turn away. And so whether or not you have a conspiratorial view of Antarctica, or if you just have a questioning view of what's going on there, what's happening. Is it just cold? Is it only cold? Well, today with Midday Madness with Manly Mark, we're going to talk about a few of those things. And so we'll get into it. So long story short, there's a lot of weird things going on with Antarctica. Top of the list, people think there's whole lands there that we don't have access to, that the elites party and go to. Or you have folks who think that it's just an ice shelf and that it's there to remind us of how the humans, and remember, most of what I talk about, I think the elites and the people who pull the strings are anti-human. And so they use the agenda of climate change in Antarctica to push the anti-human agenda. So you'll have that. Let me state this right now. I don't actually know or have a strong enough opinion to say with certainty what's going on in Antarctica, but I do think there's something weird going on. Whether or not that's because you have, as I said, global treaties in respect to Antarctica. You say, for example, you have all these countries who are enemies with each other, but they all agree on Antarctica. So thanks for tuning in to Midday Madness with Manly Mark. As I said, we're going to dive into not exactly what's going on in Antarctica, but just talk about a few questions we have in regards to some information that's come out with in Antarctica. And Antarctica, it's odd because a lot of these topics that we talk about on Midday Madness with Manly Mark bleed into other topics. So with the whole Antarctica topic and conspiracies, You lead into conspiracies such as the shape of the Earth, flat Earth versus a globe Earth. Okay, you get into those discussions. You get into discussions about aliens or giants. Okay, you get into those discussions. You also run into material that's about, say, giants. There are giants in Antarctica. Woo! We'll do a whole episode on giants. And, long story short, any Bible-believing person would say, according to Genesis 3, that, the giants clearly walked the earth. They lived at a certain time, but they went extinct, or I don't know what the explanation for these folks are, because most folks would say that, there were giants in the Bible, but turn the lens to reality in which I actually live. No, I don't see any evidence for giants, but I think the whole giant thing, the whole giant mythos, I think it's true. I think you can find explorers. We'll do a whole episode about it at some point, about how, like Magellan and some of these famous explorers from Spain and Portugal encountered giants on some of these islands in the Southern Americas. And so we'll look into their journal entries. We'll take a deep dive into what they were writing about, into what they were reporting about these giants. Because I'm telling you, there are literally journal entries from explorers from the 15, 16, 1700s that encountered giants on the islands in the Americas. And there are even Native American myths and stories in the Americas about red-headed giants. They were cannibals. And so I'm not getting into it today, but the whole notion that there were giants on the earth, I think it's pretty credible. You have the Smithsonian and mainstream archaeology that want to cover up the giant skeletons and the evidence of the existence of giants, but I feel like I personally have seen enough proof. Again, it's all over the internet, so you can't say whether or not it's true or fake, but I've seen enough stuff that would make me question whether or not the narrative on giants is right or wrong. And so it's not a stretch to assume that there's something going on in Antarctica that they don't want to talk about, whether that's because it would prove most of what they say about the Earth, the moon landing, is false. I don't know. Whether or not that would change the age of the Earth and the narrative that's went along with, say, evolution, or the young Earth versus the old Earth. The answers lie in Antarctica. And I guess what I kind of want to tie in today is that, just if you get on Google Maps, you can do this yourself. I've done it myself. I've looked up you get on Google Earth, look up the weird coordinates in Antarctica on Google Maps, and you type it in yourself, you start to find some strange things. So the first little piece of evidence I'll have today is, a long story short, just a Google Maps search of Antarctica. And I can't give you the exact coordinates because you're going to have to find them yourselves. Keywords are pyramid and Antarctica, but what I'm about to show you is just a Google Earth image of an area in Antarctica. Now, if I had more time and I wasn't going live, I could have prepared a 2-hour lecture and presentation that would detail every in and out of Antarctica and the conspiracies involving it, but we're going live, baby. I'm live right now on the Feast Me Network YouTube channel, the Instagram channel, every channel we got, TikTok. So you're just going to get what you get. But this is a Google Earth image of an area in Antarctica, and I just want you to see it, and I want you to think when you first see this, just what comes to mind. Here it comes. Okay, so here in Antarctica, on Google Maps, this looks like it's a photo from, not Google Maps, but an airplane. Okay, you can type it in, people will try to dismiss it, people will try to call it fake, but this is, it's just this is an area in Antarctica. Now, what would we think from first view that this is what is this structure? Okay, mainstream archaeology and scientists would say, don't you know that? Don't you know? Don't you know? Don't you know that this is just a natural geographic formation? Yes, it looks like a pyramid. It looks like a pyramid in Antarctica, the South Pole. But don't worry. The history that we have outlined, the history that we've given you, that's the true history. Don't worry about these pyramids in other places that we have no explanation for. Okay, so with that, we have the view of the first pyramid in Antarctica. And they've used equipment and detection methods, or even just views from Google Earth, to determine that these are like, 3 times the size of the pyramids at Giza, which already have wild theories and explanations around. Some folks want to say, oh, it was the Jewish slaves. It was the Jewish slaves that built the pyramids. History doesn't really give credence to that. I can't sit here and say exactly what history would say about the pyramids because there's so many different opinions. But I read one time that the I can't talk today, so excuse me, folks. That the ancient Egyptians had kind of like a turn of phrase that we think of today, and it was essentially that. Let me remember. Man fears time, but time fears the pyramids. Okay, interesting. So if that's what the ancient Egyptians were saying about their own pyramids, man fears time because time kills man. But time fears the pyramids, in that the pyramids have been there. Did the ancient Egyptians come into Egypt and discover the pyramids? Were they already there? Did they build them? And I know you have several locations where they have smaller pyramids of tombs for the pharaohs, but what if the ancient Egyptians just built monuments to mimic the greater monuments that they came upon? And you even get into conspiracy theories. I should have found the video, but I didn't think about it until right this second, about how some people claim there are flood or water lines upon the pyramids. So the inclination or the idea is that the pyramids were there for a lot longer period of time than the Egyptians were. And even if you look into the monument, the Sphinx, I believe at one point, okay, like you've got the face of a man and it's on a cat body, but the face of the man is in proportion a lot smaller to the body of the cat, which leads a lot of researchers or archaeologists to believe that the Sphinx, which now depicts the face of a man, probably a pharaoh, at some point depicted the full head, which would have been proportionate to the body of a cat. I mean, we all know the ancient Egyptians thought a lot of cats, felines, they had pets, the cats, and so it wouldn't be a stretch to think they had a monument to cats. They thought that cats could peer with those cat eyes into the supernatural. I kind of, in reality, think that pets, cats, dogs, they see more and perceive more than we do. But that's not the point. I'll get into that on a later episode. But the point is that the Sphinx that we highlight as I don't know if it's one of the 7 wonders of the world, but the point is the ancient Egyptians found a monument, probably of some sort of cat deity, and fashioned the Sphinx into the face of a man with a cat body to glorify some pharaoh. But the whole point I'm trying to make is that are the pyramids in Egypt the original pyramids? Or when you see pictures like I just showed you, I'll pull it up again, of the pyramid in Antarctica, was there something else going on globally in a time past that we don't have access or history or knowledge of that connected all of these pyramids? Ooh, and I just remembered. I should have got a lot more resources and knowledge because they have found pyramids in China. the CCP likes to downplay the findings of archaeological evidence, but they found pyramids in China. What's going on there? We got pyramids in China. You got pyramids in Egypt. They have found pyramids in Bosnia. They have flown over with, what do you call it? Heat-seeking or thermo-optic cameras and found mountains in Bosnia that don't match the heat signature of other geological formations. So long story short, they're finding out in Bosnia that there might actually be a structure that looks like a mountain, has all the growth over it, that might be the most ancient pyramid on Earth. What about the pyramids in Egypt? What about the pyramids in so-called Australia? What about the pyramids in Mexico? Whoa. Now we're getting to South America. And the South Americans, I don't know, the Aztec, the Mayans, their connection to pyramids. Okay, well, to get a little deeper, let's look at another image of the pyramid in Antarctica. And had I had a little more time, I would have pulled up the pyramids, an overshot of the pyramids in Egypt. But long story short, you see what looks to be one pyramid here. You know, you don't see these kind of angles in nature. You see the main pyramid here in the middle, right? There's 4 distinct sides, 4 distinct faces of this pyramid. And you might say, all the naysayers or skeptics might say, well, look how it's eroded. Look how it's fallen in on itself, and it just looks like a mountain. Well, if these pyramids are thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of years older than the pyramids of Giza, I would expect them to look like this. Okay, you even got the third pyramid over here on the right. Like you have 1, 2, 3. 3 distinct pyramid-looking objects in Antarctica as found on Google Maps. And mainstream archaeology has nothing to say about these other than they are natural formations. Okay. Well, at the same time, you're denying the pyramids in Bosnia. The CCP is denying the pyramids in China. You have pyramids all over the world. And what's interesting is the pyramids in Giza are mapped out geographically to match the star sign. I don't know if the sign, constellation, Orion. They match the distance and the proportion of the stars of Orion's belt. Okay, that's weird. How would the pyramid at Giza do that? Okay, you got folks, again, I should have brought video, should have showed evidence, but you got folks who say you can look at the proportions of the pyramids at Giza and derive the circumference of the Earth. What? They shouldn't have known that. Oh, you can look at the proportions of the pyramid of Giza a certain way and derive the value of pi. What? How? What? So it would almost seem that they're interlocking certain universal knowledge, certain knowledge about the plane in which we exist, and they're tying it into a physical monument. Now, whether or not that's the point, I don't know, or whether or not that's true, I leave that up to you to do your own research and find out yourself. But the point is, there's a lot of weird things going on with the. Well, I got the hiccups live on air. Excuse me. Now I need Joe to come here and scare me so I get rid of these hiccups. Here it comes again. No, I lied. But the point being is, you have a lot of weird things going on. Not only with the pyramids of Giza, but they tie into Antarctica. And, you think, well, I don't hear anything about Antarctica. I never hear anything about Antarctica. Well, I'm here to show you that there are a few interesting tidbits of knowledge about Antarctica. As recently as 2016, you had Buzz Aldrin, one of the first men who walked on the moon, go to Antarctica. And I can't remember quite exactly what I'm about to show you, but...
In 2016, Buzz Aldrin posted a tweet that said, "We are all in danger. It is evil itself." with a photo of a pyramid in Antarctica and then deleted it soon after. But several people around the world got screenshots of this strange post. What does Buzz know that we don't?
The bass softly thumps, a heartbeat's plea, the clarinet weaves a lilac.
Oh, I was off air. I didn't have my mic on, but you saw that clip. I'm not going to play it again, but point being is Buzz Aldrin made a trip to Antarctica 2016, and it was rife with trouble. He made a tweet that was soon deleted that said, well, don't get me a line, so let's watch that video so we can see exactly what Buzz said.
In 2016, Buzz Aldrin posted a tweet that said, "We are all in danger. It is evil itself," with a photo of a pyramid in Antarctica, and then deleted it soon after. But several people around the world got screenshots of this strange post. What does Buzz know that we don't?
There we have it again. He went to Antarctica. Buzz Aldrin. I should have had the news articles ready, but essentially, long story short, some people would claim it's because of altitude sickness or the oxygen levels or the cold, but Buzz Aldrin had what would equate to a stroke or heart attack, a medical emergency in which he had to be med-flighted out of Antarctica after witnessing or seeing something that he saw in Antarctica. He tweeted that I have seen the face of evil. I have seen evil. What was he talking about? What's going on in Antarctica that people like Buzz Aldrin are privy to, or people like Buzz Aldrin have access to, that could be such a powerful experience it causes him to have a heart attack or stroke? I don't know. You got folks saying it was because of altitude sickness, because of the journey, but a man like Buzz Aldrin, who's in his 90s, who went to the moon, I don't know, he's healthy. That just seems unlikely for a man like Buzz Aldrin to have a heart attack and to tweet and then delete something after seeing something in Antarctica. Not only that, but you have buzz around religious leaders going to Antarctica. I'm going to show you an article right here. Doesn't get into the whole article because, again, as always, I don't like to pay for things. But let me find this article for you. Mass in Antarctica. Russian Orthodox Patriarch to say Mass in Antarctica. That was February 17th, 2016. That was at the same time and around the same time frame that Buzz Aldrin went to Antarctica and had his experience of a heart attack or stroke. So, point being is, in 2016, you definitely had something going on that was interesting in Antarctica. Now, again, what's the real scoop? Well, I couldn't tell you, because if I just had to guess, I'd say, well, I don't know. They're either hiding something, whether that would change the history. They're either hiding green lands within Antarctica, which gets me into. Ooh, I should have prepared for this, which I'll get into. Admiral Byrd's, BYRDS, Admiral Byrd's Operation High Jump into Antarctica. You need to look up and research Admiral Byrd's Operation High Jump. It was essentially a U.S. covert operation to Antarctica to figure out what was going on. Long story short, after the operation, Admiral Byrd made a lot of wild claims that the U.S. government then had to downplay. And essentially we made him sound like an insane guy who went crazy. And now his legacy's lost to conspiracy and myth because of some operation that the U.S. government went on in the 40s or 50s to investigate Antarctica that, again, they probably found something they didn't want to find. They didn't want to have to explain away. So they ruined the reputation of a good, hard-working American man, Admiral Byrd. Which would lead us then to what is going on in Antarctica. You have some folks who would apply the extraterrestrial alien hoax, I call it a hoax, to Antarctica, saying it's where a lot of these ETs or otherworldly beings have their bases or command operation posts. You have other folks who say that, well, I mean, you got conspiracy that says the Nazis, that you have it, there's still an operating Nazi base in the Antarctic, and that the Nazis made it down to South America and then down to the Antarctic. Now, all that said, do I think Hitler killed himself in World War II and that the Russians recovered his body? No. You can look into the conspiracies surrounding Hitler's life and the body that they supposedly found in the bunker that he supposedly killed himself in, that's supposedly still housed in some Russian museum or monument to the bones of Adolf Hitler. Okay, well, modern testing has found that those bones are the bones of a female. So what they're calling the body of Adolf Hitler are the bones of a female. It's odd. Not only that, but you have literally declassified CIA documents that detail how Hitler escaped to Argentina, South America, and lived out the rest of his days. And if I was smart, I would have pulled up some of the pictures that are supposedly Hitler in his later years. But the point being is he didn't die in the 40s in Germany in a bunker waiting for the Soviets to invade wherever he was at. He probably got out, made it to Argentina, lived out the rest of his days, found some Argentina honey, and had a good time. And you know, you'd say, well, there's not a Nazi or German presence in South America, Argentina. Look at the Argentinian soccer team. Look at the Argentinian president. Look at the Argentinian politicians. Look at most Argentinians. It's such a, long story short, there were such a large amount of Germans that fled Germany to Argentina in the 40s that by most metrics, they consider Argentina a white country. A lot of these people have blonde hair and blue eyes, or European features. It's because there was a large amount of Germans, Nazis that fled Germany, went to South America. So I don't necessarily buy into the Nazis in Antarctica or the Nazis on the moon, but it is with, you could make a case that Hitler made it to Argentina, and maybe we'll get into that on an episode. Oh, Jerry, you said, hey, Mark. Jerry, God bless you. You said this probably a few minutes ago. But, Jerry, I'm so glad you always tune in. It's nice. We have Colin. We have Jerry. We have Jessica. We have a few dedicated, loyal followers who are always tuning in, who are always listening. And, you know, we don't have a lot of listeners right now. And it's funny because I saw a video today while, I wake up probably 5 or 6 o'clock, go do the morning phone scroll routine, and I saw some video of some English woman who was talking about how it's been 5 years streaming as a gamer on Twitch to an empty chat room, and it made me think, whoa, we might literally be on air. The Feast Me Network with, the Feast Me Show with Manly Mark, 9 with Fee, Midday Madness with Manly Mark. We might be on for years or months, speaking to an echo chamber, speaking to the vacuum, or only speaking to our few dedicated, loyal listeners like Jerry. So God bless you, Jerry. God bless you, Jessica. God bless you, Colin. I don't see a lot of Colin, but Colin always finds us. And Colin always finds my videos and talks about how it's like, well, we love you, Manly. We love you, Mark. Yeah, right on. It's like, man, I'm just a regular guy. I'm just a regular cat daddy living. But the point is, probably like Colin and probably like Jerry, you've just been paying attention for the last several years. You've been paying attention to the propaganda, the lies. But while all that's going on, you hear your family, your friends, your folks talk about the latest mainstream media talking points. And you're kind of like, did you not just 3 weeks ago hear the exact opposite from the exact person that you're telling me to listen to? Come on. I mean, the biggest example comes up with the COVID vaccine. You had Fauci and all these mainstream media, CNN, MSNBC, talk about how the vaccine is effective. You won't get COVID with it. You won't get sick. You won't whatever. Then, then a little later on, well, you might get COVID, but your symptoms are going to be a lot less. So it went from, this is a vaccine that's going to keep you from getting COVID, you're not going to get sick, to, oh, well, it's a vaccine that's actually, you can still get COVID, you can still transmit COVID, but your symptoms won't be as bad, and you won't transmit it near as bad. Well, look up the definition of a vaccine pre-2019 as opposed to a vaccine post-2020 or post-COVID vax. They changed the definitions and, they changed the definitions just wholeheartedly. But you got me on a soapbox, Jerry, so I'm sorry. Can't even remember where I'm coming from or what I'm talking about. Antarctica. We're talking about Antarctica. But the point is, they lie about history. They lie about medicine. It's all about controlling the narrative and to control you, the listener. They want to control you because to them, you're cattle. Look at most of your food. Look at most of your, I don't want to say medicine, but most of your food is a derivative of corn. Corn chips. There's corn in all the chips. There's corn in all this. There's corn syrup. There's cornmeal. What do we feed cattle? Or what do we feed farm animals? We feed them grain. Now, I'm not getting off on a health topic, this or that, but you can literally just look at what they push as far as our diet and food and say, man, they're giving us modified versions of corn for every meal. That's probably the cheapest and easiest way to feed us useless eaters. Now, I didn't invent the term useless eater. That comes from Bill Gates and a Jew named, I can't quite remember his name, Navala Harari? If you just look up the Great Reset, useless eaters, you'll own nothing and be happy. You'll find these people who are talking about it. But the point being is, with the COVID vaccine, you had all this propaganda, how it's going to work, you're going to be protected, grandma won't die, and then you got it, and then, well, you can still get the sickness, you can still spread it, but it won't be as bad. You see, they move the goalposts. Same thing with Antarctica. As information and disclosure comes out about Antarctica, they're going to move the goalposts. At first, it was just a barren ice land that there's no point for people going to. Even though we have an international treaty, an international document that says we all agreed not to let folks come here, we all agreed to conduct research centers that abide by these guidelines. That's weird, man. That's weird. And again, whether or not it's because they don't want us to know there's more lands out there, they don't want us to know that the Earth's flat. I don't know. I'm just a regular guy, so I don't have any speciality in astrophysics, geography, archaeology, history, medicine, none of that. So this isn't medical advice, this isn't financial advice, this isn't personal advice. This is only advice to simply question what they tell you. And, I get into the Antarctic treaties and how all these countries have a treaty with Antarctica, with each other, not to let people go to... Like, you can't load up on a boat. You, the listener, Jerry, if you're listening, you can't load up a boat, you can't get the funding, and set sail to Antarctica without being met with force. And by force, I mean men on boats with guns that turn you away. And I have a video, let's see how it works, because I couldn't download it, I had the video capture, but let's just see. So open up here. Okay, there it is. Let's see if I can play it. But this is supposedly men on boats in Antarctica trying to, let me find it right here. So let's just see what we think about that. This right here. Well, I mean, there you have it, folks. The point being of that video is that these were Australian fishermen. Well, I guess they got too close to Antarctica because, as you could see, there was a whole warship, and they have their entire waters patrolled. You have flat Earth folks who will get funding from their supporters to take a trip to Antarctica to the ice wall, only to be turned away by men, warships with machine guns. Well, if we get into it a little more, we'll show it to you. But the point being with this whole episode, and we'll go ahead and close it now, but the point being was to just essentially show you folks that what's going on in Antarctica. I don't know. Is it aliens? Is it they have their own place away from us, the elites, from the useless eaters? Or does it tie into something I wanted to get into but I didn't, which we'll save for another episode? A global cylindrical reset, as in like a global catastrophe that happens every so many years that our governments and our agencies are tuned into, that they're trying to prep and prepare for, that they don't want to let us know. You have, well, if you just look at ancient history and antediluvian literature, if it exists, you have folks who think that every 25,000 years there's some global catastrophe that's a natural, I don't know, product or a natural aspect of Earth, that it almost shakes itself off every 25,000 years, and that our government and these people in control think that we are far overdue for these types of events. And so you have folks who think that too. But anyways, I'm just trying to get you guys to think about things you wouldn't normally think about. And as always, we have a good time on Midday Madness, Mailing Mark. Thank you, Jerry, for tuning in, and anyone else who tunes in. We always have a good time. And as always, if there's something you specifically want me to look into or talk about, just hit me up on the comment section, and I'll get the gears in motion. But guys, thanks again for tuning in to Midday Madness, Mailing Mark. I'm here every day at 12 noon. You'll catch Fee himself tonight at 9 o'clock Central Standard Time with Night with Fee. And you'll see me again tomorrow at 9 a.m. on the Feast Me Show with Mailing Mark. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. And as always, God bless you. And I'll see you again next time. Thank you.